Welcome to Maths Tech, your source of great learning. Today is the part 8/2 of the practice exercise of zero and negative exponents. It is in continuation of our part 8/1. Those who have just joined, I must say, please see our previous videos regarding 7 basic fundamental rules of the exponents. So now let's begin. In question number 11, we have a raised to the power 5 and b raised to the power minus 3 in the numerator, and in the denominator side we have c raised to the power minus 7 and d over here. What we are going to do, we are not going to disturb this a raised to the power 5, as well as d. What we are going to do, we will simply shift this b raised to the power minus 3 and c raised to the power minus 7. How? Let's a raised to the power 5 and this c raised to the power minus 7, when we will shift it towards the numerator side, it will become c positive 7, c7, and b raised to the power minus 3 in the numerator. When it goes down in the bottom, what it will become? It will b raised to the power 3 and d, and we will leave d over here as it was in the previous position. So this is our answer: a raised to the power 5, c raised to the power 7, b raised to the power 3, d and d here as it is. So this is our answer. In question number 12, x raised to the power minus 5, y raised to the power 6, and whole within the parentheses, but outside here is whole raised to the power minus 1. What we are going to do, we will simply multiply the exponents. Minus, when multiplied by minus, it will give you a positive result, and this 5 when multiplied by this one, it will give you x raised to the power 5, and here y raised to the power 6 when multiplied by this whole exponent minus 1, it will give you y raised to the power minus 6. Now the second step, we will simply x raised to the power 5 and and we will shift this y raised to the power minus 6 down, and it will become a positive y raised to the power 6. That is our answer. In question number 13, now remember, when the bases are the same, what we are going to do, we are going to add the powers over here. So it will become x minus 7 over here and x raised to the power minus 1. We can do it x raised to the power minus 7 plus 1 over here. What x raised to it will give you x raised to the power minus 6 over here. Now we will shift this x raised to the power minus 6 to the bottom, and it will become 1 over x raised to the power 6 over here. This is our final answer. In question number 14, 7 raised to the power 0. That means that it is equal to 1. And in the denominator, we have x raised to the power minus 1, y is over here, and z raised to the power minus 2. What we will do, we will simply 7 raised to the power 0, that has given us 1, and x raised to the power minus 1. When we will shift this towards the numerator, it will become simply x, or x raised to the power 1. You can write it if you want to. And this z minus 2, it will become z raised to the power 2 over here when we will move it upward towards the numerator side, and we will leave this y as it is where it was. So this is our final answer. Now let's move on to the question number 15. Here we have 2, and within the parentheses we have a raised to the power minus 2, c raised to the power 3, and outside there is whole raised to the power minus 4. First we will write this 2 as it is. Then within the parentheses we have a raised to the power minus 2. What we are going to do, we are going to multiply the exponents. So minus this minus sign, when multiplied this minus, it will give you a raised to the power positive, obviously positive, and this 2 when multiplied by 4, obviously it gives you 8 over here, and c3, and outside here is minus 4. When this 3 is multiplied by 4, it will give you c raised to the power minus 12 over here. Now what we are going to do, we will simply do a raised to the power 8, and we will move this c minus 12 to the bottom, and it will become c raised to the power 12. That is our final answer. Now here in the question number 16, we have 3 raised to the power 0. First of all, we know what we will do. We will simply put a 1 over here. And here it is x. Within the parentheses, we have x dot y, and outside there is raised to the whole minus 4. What we will do? We will simply write it as minus 4, because each of the term of this factor x and y is going to be multiplied by this exponent raised to the power minus 4. We will simply first complete this y raised to the power minus 4 and x raised to the power 2 and y over here. Now the second thing that we will do, 1 will come as it is, and here it will move x4 and y4 in the numerator, and here we have x square y. Now here the condition says that when the bases are the same, we have to look m, the condition of m is greater than n. So what we are going to do, we will simply x raised to the power 4 minus 2 and y4 over here, y4 minus 1 over here. So it will give you simply x raised to the power 2 and y cube over here. That is our final answer. And don't worry about this y. Obviously, it is understood that 1 comes over here. So this is our answer, x raised to the power 2 and y cube over here. Now the 17th question, it says x raised to the power minus 2, y raised to the power minus 1 and z raised to the power 4. We will simply leave this z over 4 where it was, and then x raised to the power minus 2 will go downward, and it will go x raised to the power 2, and y will simply come as a positive 1 over here after moving towards the denominator. Now here we have question number 18. It says 10x raised to the power 6, and in the denominator we have 2x raised to the power minus 2. First, we will divide this 10 by 2, and it will give you simply 5 over here. And what we will do, x raised to the power 6, x raised to the power minus 2, we will simply add 6 plus minus 2. That is, now what we will write, 5x 6, when this plus is multiplied by this minus, it will be 5x raised to the power 4 over here. Now this is your final answer. Now in the question number 19th, here we have minus 3x raised to the power minus 10, and here in the denominator we also have x raised to the power minus 10. It looks a little bit trickier, but this one is also quite simple. No need to worry about it. Simply minus 3. Oh, what is getting wrong with my marker? Anyway, 3x raised to the power minus 10. What we will do, we will move this denominator x raised to the power minus 10 towards the numerator side, and it will become, now here it is minus 10. What it becomes, when we will move it, to the top, it will become plus 10 over here. So minus 10 and plus 10 obviously will cancel out with each other, and we are left with 3x raised to the power 0. Now x raised to the power 0, that means, oh sorry, about this minus sign, it will come over here. So it will give us minus 3 raised to the power 1, and our final answer will be minus 3. Now moving towards the last question of this exercise, y, within the parentheses we have y divided by a raised to the power minus 1, and outside the whole, that is raised to the power minus 1. We will simply write it as y raised to the power minus 1, and here it is, when this minus is multiplied by this, it will give you a positive 1 over here. And what we will do, we will take this y raised to the power minus 1 towards the denominator side, and it will become 1 on the top, and when we will move, it will become y raised to the power 1 1 obviously. If you want to write it, you can write 1, or if you don't want, there is nothing wrong in it. It can be easily understood. And a raised to the power 1. So we can simply write it as 1a dot y. That is our final answer. This is the end of our exercise of part 8 oblique 2, regarding the practice exercise of the zero and the negative exponents. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. Please stay with me, because in the next video I am going to upload about the scientific notation. So please subscribe to my channel, so I will bring more and more interesting videos with practice exercises. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time.